Hello, this is Bridget Rao with Divine Essentials. Alright guys, how are you tonight? So, I know you guys are used to me being here shuffling my cards and doing a reading, but I wanted to try this out really quickly, talk to a couple of you, see how you feel. I've had a couple of things going on in my mind for a while, and especially over this past week, I've been having this push to get back into my support group on Facebook, which I basically created because a lot of people were like reaching out to me, and I was like, you know what, I'll create a place where they can like communicate with each other and support each other, because a lot of times, sometimes people just feel alone and they want someone to talk to, and because they resonate with my readings, they feel safe to talk to me. But I was like, well, if they resonate with my readings and they resonate with my readings, obviously they will have things in common to share. So that was like kind of like why I made the group. But even over these past few months, I'm sure you guys have seen, like, I've been being called to like give you more than just like a little like reading. And a lot of times people are like, yes, please. So I'm thinking like once a week, offering this here, which is like a counterpart connection check-in. And it doesn't have, you don't have to be somebody that knows that you have a twin flame. You don't have to be somebody that has somebody that's in mind for you. You just have to be dealing with an unideal love situation in general around you. Maybe you're single, you've been single for a while, you would like to not be single anymore. Things aren't ideal when it comes to love for you. Or you're dealing with a relationship that is not ideal. Maybe you guys communicate and stuff, but not to the extent that you would like. Maybe there's a situation where you want somebody to come back into your world, but they're not showing up, and you could just really feel like, meh, you know. Again, basically anything that's not ideal. The concept here is to help you to find and manifest what is. I've also been thinking about doing another channel called This is Bridget Rao, and doing things like this, but other stuff too, because the spiritual awakening goes hand in hand with so much stuff. I know that there's like a lot for me to share just because of things that I've already experienced and dealt with, and things that I keep getting like pushed to share with people, but it doesn't feel like appropriate on this channel, and it doesn't feel appropriate on the Divine Essentials channel. It may be, but I don't know. Like I really keep going back and forth on what I'm doing. So give me some feedback in the comments. Let me know if you would like me to continue to do this here. If you like this and people are like, no, I will be doing it in the support group on Facebook. But again, I know not everybody's on Facebook. So that leaves you the other option. I can maybe either do this on the Divine Essentials channel or make a This is Bridget Rao channel and go beyond just what we're doing here. Basically, I want to help you people grow and evolve and expand and learn and be able to break out of the limitations and create the ideal situation for yourself. So, today, this was the first one that came through for me to bring to you guys. I feel like we're going to kind of do this in steps. And again, Spirit guides me with a lot of this stuff. Even when I did mine, it ended up being like a poem, because every time I put pen to paper, it starts to rhyme, and it's like, that's just how I write. So, you guys will know what I'm talking about in a second. But basically, this would be the first step, and then next week we would go deeper into the things that we've learned here and continue and continue and continue. So, what I'm asking people tonight is, what does your ideal union look like and your ideal person? However, I don't want you to focus on my DM or my DF. Like, I want you to focus on what ideal partnership means to you, looks like to you, feels to you. Because again, if you're here, you're probably not dealing with ideal. You're dealing with something that's been unideal. And I want you to release the limitation of being like, I want this person to because we are the creators of our reality, but everybody has free will. So just like you create your reality, whoever you may be interested in creates their reality. And now if you're single, you guys, I feel like, would be easier to work within this, because you don't already have somebody that you're like, it has to be them, or, you know, like, they gotta look this way. Like, you guys are probably more so open to your ideal thing, but you may not even know all the details that go along with that. And even for me, like, I'm the one that came up with this, but when I did this, I was like, I didn't think about that, I didn't think about that. So it can help you. And I find that when we start asking ourselves questions like this, rather than going to a reading and being like, what do they think? What do they feel? Because that doesn't give you anything other than what they think and feel. It can be fun. It can make you feel better for a few minutes and stuff. But what does it accomplish other than you knowing that they think and feel this? So this is like that other step to this, okay? This is about what you think and feel. And that's more important at the end of the day. But again, you have your free will. They have their free will. You don't want to be like trying to manifest something and infringing on another person's free will. So you want to be manifesting what is ideal to you and giving the space for that to show up. And if it's supposed to be that person, and if they're capable to do what feels ideal to you, and you put out the vibration and you do the work that allows for that to happen, they'll show up. And if you do it all and they're not meant to be there, somebody better who's ideal will come show up to give you what it is you're wanting, okay? So if you feel like this is something that can assist you, basically what I'm asking is think about like what that looks like, but I want you to think about it like as now and then too. Like I want you to think about how that feels right now, like what that looks like right now, because if somebody showed up today and was like, all right, I want to be your boyfriend, what does that mean? Like, how do you fit them into your life? How many days a week are you seeing them? How often are you talking to them? When are you having sex? Like, you know, how about your family, their family? Stuff like that, your job, your friends. Because a lot of times people get into connections and they, like, give up all their other things. Like, I just saw somebody post today, like, I was with this person for 3 years, I have no friends. Because they gave away all their friendship, all their other things, and just focused on that one person. That's not healthy. So again, we're trying to manifest an ideal situation. So you want to be aware of this. You don't want it to just be you and them all the time, because that's not healthy, and it's probably not going to work. It may work for a while, but when you're built, like it's like building a tower on a crumbly foundation. You want to build it on something solid that can grow. So I'm asking you to think about now, how this fits in, how it evolves over time, and what 10 years from now looks like. Because you may be somebody that really, really feels that I want to get married, I want to have 2 kids, I want to live here, and like that's your ideal thing, and part of your ideal thing may not be negotiable to you. Now, if you're single, that's fine, right? Because I'm sure 100% there's somebody out there out of the billions of people in the world that are going to want the same thing you do. If, however, you're dealing with somebody right now that maybe you are communicating with and it's like, it's not obviously ideal, and maybe they have like this thing where it's like they're never getting married, they only want 1 kid, and they want to live on the other side of the place that you want to live on. That's not ideal, you know? And even if that's the case, it doesn't have to mean that you guys can't be together, because people can compromise and fix things like that. But you also don't want to like force that on somebody, and you don't want to give away what feels good to you either, because this came through last night. It's like you can't pretend to be somebody else, and you can't pretend to not want what you want. So if you're dealing with somebody that's like only able to give you 20% of your 100, and you're like, all right, I'm going to come down here to meet you, you're only going to be able to sustain that for so long before you're like, nah, I need more. And they're going to be like, well, I told you, I can't give you more. So you just wasted a whole bunch of time trying to like pull freaking water out of a rock, you know? That's not what you want to do. So these are the types of things I want you to think about as you're coming up with this stuff, like what really is ideal for you now and later. And then I want you to also get like into like details, like how it feels. I want you to use your senses, how it feels, how it tastes, what it smells like, what it looks like. Because when we start to invoke all of our senses, our energy gets more wrapped up into it. Like our energy, like our creative juices start flowing more. We're giving more out into the universe. We're telling the universe exactly what we want, instead of all the times that we're telling them what we don't want. Because most of the time we're thinking about, they're not here, they didn't do this, they blah, blah, blah. Like I want that, I want that, I want that, and it never feels like you have it because it's over there. Instead, I want you to like feel it, like see it, taste it, smell it, and allow yourself to become it. Like allow yourself to feel all of the stuff that you really want to feel. Allow your stuff to, you know, start to bubble up inside of you and emit that vibration out so that you can attract that. Because the universe, it's physics. It's basically whatever you ripple out is what ripples towards you. And if you're rippling out, you know, being unhappy and not being fulfilled and, you know, waiting for somebody, it's like that's just continuing to cycle. And even like the things within these connections that can be like a cycle that's been like not so great. Maybe you have somebody that it was like you started off as friends with benefits, then you decided you liked them more than that, but they weren't ready to give you more than that, and now you've got these feelings and they're like doing whatever. It's like that stuff isn't ideal. You don't want to continue, and maybe they can shift out of that, but they're not going to shift out of that as long as you're staying here in this vibration of expecting that and dealing with that. Like if they show up and you're like, okay, and you give in to them because it's them, you continue to allow that cycle to repeat. The best option you have is to say, nope, I'm not doing that anymore. It may be difficult, you may not want to, but you have to, so that they know that that's not okay. And if they decide to rise up to meet you at that next platform, you guys can work together to go from there. But somebody has to be the one that's like, I'm not going to continue to do these things that don't feel good. All right. So, 444. So I want you to think about all that stuff and all of those details, how often you're seeing each other, when you're speaking to each other, how all that stuff fits in. And then I want you to ask yourself if the person, so if you're single, think about the past people you've dealt with, like why they weren't able to fulfill you in those ways. What happened and led up to the relationship not working out? Because that can kind of give you clues as to, where to stay away from and what to look for as you're going out into new connections. Now, if you are dealing with somebody or waiting for somebody to return into your life, I want you to be honest and ask yourself, is this person capable of giving to me what my ideal thing is? And if they're not showing up right now, then they're really not doing it. So you want to be honest with yourself and be like, they may be able to, but they're not. And that may come down to they don't want to. And that can be difficult to stomach and digest, but sometimes we have to face that. Like if somebody doesn't want to show up in those ways, they're not going to. And there's nothing you can do by just sitting around waiting for them to want to that will make them want to, okay? The best opportunity or chance you have with it is to change what's going on around you and your perspectives. And again, maybe they change along with you, maybe they don't, but if they don't, ideal comes, okay? Somebody better will come. And I know people get like that thing where it's like, but I don't want anybody else. I'm not attracted to anybody else. Like, I don't even feel like it. Like, I don't want to date, blah, 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 blah. That's fine. You don't have to, but at least start to know what ideal for you is, and then start employing like those boundaries and the healing techniques that come through into your current situation so that you're not allowing you guys to just stay stuck in some sort of like thing, okay? And over time, you may find that it gets easier for you to start considering other people and for you to start considering dating and then, breaking out and being like, okay, I'm going to do a date. No, that wasn't so bad. I'm going to do another date. And it's like, it's a progression and it takes time. And everybody, I want you to be at your comfort level, but I also want you to just have this awareness first and foremost. And basically, today's more so about figuring this out, like figure out what this looks like, feels like, tastes like now and down the road so that you can be clear about it. And then next week, I'm going to go into like, okay, now that we know, what can we do with that? How can we start working with that? How can we maintain this type of vibration? And also figuring out the blocks because, like that was part of this too. It was like, if you at your core that like the person you may want to show up in this way for you isn't or doesn't want to or can't right now. Maybe they, are married. So they're not going to show up like tomorrow and be like, here I am to see you 3 days a week and to date and to do all the things that would be ideal for you right now. I want you to also look at like yourself in that situation and get clear about what those blockages are so that next time we can start working with those things. Okay. So today's more so about identifying these issues and getting honest with ourselves, and then next time we'll be employing some more stuff into fixing up and working with what you've got going on right now. And like I said, for whatever reason, when I went to do this, I was like, okay, I wrote out like ideal union now and then, an ideal person now and then. And as soon as I started writing, like, that fell away. So I basically have like a little story here. And again, in the Facebook group, there are a couple of people who've already responded. You can read theirs too and see like how they've done it to give you an idea of like the types of things that you may want to include into your coming up with this. If you don't want to write it, you don't have to. You could just meditate on it. Or you could like record yourself, speak about it, like, this is my ideal union, this is the ideal progression, this is the type of person that I need to show up for me to be ideal, okay? So hopefully this makes sense to you guys. Hopefully you can figure out how to utilize this regardless of what's going on right now in this moment in your relationships. It shouldn't matter if you're, you know, completely single or dealing with somebody sometimes or having somebody that's like really far out of reach. So I have a poem, but I want to express it to you guys so that you can see how it progresses over time and how it covers those things like smell, taste, scent, vision, you know, getting all of our senses involved. And then at the end, I will talk a little bit about the blockages that I was able to kind of see. Because again, whenever we start writing, I feel like, and we ask ourselves these questions, it doesn't have to be writing, but when we start asking ourselves these questions, our I am presence delivers the answers. We know the answers. Everything we need to heal and to shift and to change our life is within us. But a lot of times we don't ask ourselves these questions, or we, you know, get into a sense of denial, or, you know, I don't want to change, or I don't want to acknowledge that. Like, I don't want to feel that, especially when we get hurt by somebody. Like if somebody just rejects us, that's like, didn't reject me. Like we want to make sure that no, that's not what happened. Like they just are blah. Like we come up with all these things, but sometimes we need to get honest for growth. So this is for my peeps who are ready to grow and be honest, and for those who want an ideal person. So my ideal union is: an ideal union feels easy, comfortable, and stress-free. Open communication about feelings, wants, and needs. Discussions about our goals, our dreams, and our futures happen free of judgment, jealousy, or anger. There's an equal give and take, and compromise comes second nature. Neither is the boss, and neither's in control. Just two souls working towards a common goal. An ideal union tastes like excited kisses, delicious and romantic moonlight drinks and dinners. Licking chocolate off of each other and covered in whipped cream. It's sweet, it's fresh, it's spicy. It's every palate's dream. An ideal union looks like good morning text messages, thinking of you tags and likes on my pages. It's the steamy hot shower and excitement in that hour as I dress and get ready for the man that's cool and steady. It's finding the dates that coordinate and making plans with a very solid man. Looking out the window and seeing his headlights pulling up, opening the door and instantly our eyes and smiles fill up. Flowers in his hand, warmth within his eyes, being sure to greet and comfort my baby wiener's cries. Driving to a secret, surprise destination, holding hands and trusting in his own navigation. Pulling in and having fun at a place we both adore, spending the night laughing, leaving our cheeks feeling sore. It's him bringing me back to his home for cuddles, time, and movies. It's making out on the couch and playing with my boobies. Cooking him his favorite meals I know that he will love. The warmth you feel when he holds you close and looks down at you from above. The feel of his skin and the scent of clean linens as we begin to make love. It's feeling safe to stay in his warm embrace. It's sleeping soundly through the night. The makeup after a big bad fight. The comfort of knowing it will all be okay, 'cause even in our darkest moments, there will always be a brand new day. And as those days turn to weeks and those weeks turn to months, we both continue growing and our future goes on. No settling for pieces of our combined visions, empowering and encouraging, supporting and evolving. When the time feels right, we discuss who will change their home so we can accommodate the family we are growing. Accepting his family and him accepting mine, day by day time goes by and we just align. One day I'll wake up, spooned in his embrace, and know that our future is secure at any place. And when he opens his eyes, I feel him staring at me, and later that day he asks, will you marry me? Of course I say yes, we both know what we want, a future of love that can't come apart. My work has evolved, he's the head of his team, we've both managed to bring forth a reality we once dreamed. We buy a bigger home. We move to where it's always warm. We invite our families and our friends who have now also grown. Because we accepted each other and all who've come along, we just vibe, we just fit, and there's no drama or bullshit. We plan our wedding day according to each other's desires, but hopefully he agrees at the beach would be pretty fire. It represents us and our endless love, yet the freedom we give and the light from above. There's days when it's calm, peaceful, and pale, then days when it roars and puts winds in your sail. We will grow old together in our home by the beach with a bunch of wiener dogs and a love that once felt out of reach. We will love each other infinitely and true and pass on within moments like those real couples do, going on to the next life, the next set of lessons that at the end of the day always become blessings. So that is my progression of what a perfect, ideal connection would be, an ideal union. So for me, like, I kind of already, like, I put it out there, like dating, getting excited, having somebody that's going to show up and pick you up and, knock on your door, somebody that would think to bring you flowers once in a while, somebody that would plan an exciting, thing that you can trust them, they know what they're doing. There's somebody that will take the time to coordinate a date with you, they give you a priority. And for me, like, because I'm busy now and stuff like that, I feel like it would probably start off once or twice a week and then evolve over time. And then, weeks and months, you start to discuss, like, all right, well, we've gone from 1 to 2 days a week. Now I'm like sleeping over 4 times a week. Like, maybe one of us should move together and things like that. So that's like the progression, basically. And then as time goes on, being able to move to like your destination that you would want to live in. For me, I do want to get, like, I would get married to somebody if I know that they're gonna, like, be there for the long haul, but I wouldn't be like, oh, we've been together a year, let's get married. Like, I want to know that they're gonna be there. I don't want kids just because of things that I've been through, but I have recognized something within all of that too by doing this exercise. So I want you guys to, like, do that. And again, it doesn't have to be a rhyme. It doesn't have to be big and long and drawn out. You can just know those little details. Like, right now, because I work X, Y, and Z, what would be ideal for me. Because for me, I've been single for a while now. Like, just even the thought of, like, doing certain things, like, I don't really feel like I would want somebody coming here and hanging out. And I'm like, why is that? And again, you if that's the case, like, if where you live, you're like, I don't know if I really want someone to come in my home, you would want to manifest somebody that you could go to their home, because if they live with their parents, that may not be kosher. And depending on your age, you may not want someone that's living with their parents. So, like, my dad lives here, but it's technically, like, he lives with me. Like, he got out of jail, he had nowhere to go, so I said, you can come with me, and it worked out, and we help each other. But he's 2 floors down, and it wouldn't matter. I just feel weird. There's something, I think it's because I've gotten into my rut, in my Taurus, Capricorn, like, I've been alone for a while, this is what I do every day type of thing. Like, I'm very, like, I'm just gonna do this, and I get used to it. So you want to think about those things. Like, are you comfortable with somebody, like, coming and spending the night in your house? And also think about, too, like, if there's somebody out there that you would, like, love nothing more for them to come sleep over, are you ready for them to show up right now? Say they were knocking at your door, would you freak out? So clean your house if that's the case, or make it so that it's, like, always comfortable to invite that in, And again, if you're like me, start thinking about what those reasons might be that you may not want someone to come to your home, or the reasons why, you only want X, Y, or Z. Like, really think about these things, because they are important when it comes to the manifestation of the ideal connections that people are wanting. And then, like, asking myself, like, is there somebody that could provide that to me? I know that there's somebody out there that can provide that to me. I don't necessarily know if I know anybody right now, because I haven't really talked on that level with anybody, you know what I mean? Like, I know that there's people out there, I've had tons of people approach me for dating and all of that stuff, but I never really let it get too deep to find that stuff out. So I don't know, like, if those people would be like, yeah, I'm good with, like, getting married and not having kids and having wiener dogs, like, or, like, living somewhere warm. So I'm not sure, but I know like that person exists. I know that there's someone out there that exists, but but basically trying to get, like, give you guys that thing there. Like, if you're dealing with somebody, or if you know of people that you could be interested in, can they give that to you? You may not know right now because you may have never talked to that person. However, if that's the case as well, like if there's somebody out there that you may really want to be with in those ways and you don't know, but you still want to be with them in those ways, like, I feel like there is some instances where they probably could, and they may even want the same things out of life as you, but they may not want to do that with you, okay? And that happens, you know. Think about yourself, like when there's been somebody that's asked you out and you're like, no way. Like, we have that within us. Sometimes we're attracted to people who aren't attracted back, and sometimes people, you know, just aren't okay where they're at right now. Like, maybe that person really does want those things with you, but they can't acknowledge it right now, so it's not ideal right now. So we're going to be figuring these things out, and I want you to be honest with yourself about those answers and try to come up with, like, different things that you could be putting out into your energy and through your thoughts and through your actions that may be causing blockages, and ways that you could be limiting yourself from manifesting this ideal thing. Because I've come up with some stuff tonight, like the fact that I don't want kids is because I've been in relationships where kids were there, and you get attached to them. And my ex didn't take care of his kids, so I was always taking care of his kids, and then I got attached to them. Then I had to, like, just shut that thing off when I left there because they're not my kids. And I've had that happen with friends. Like, I had a friend who was, like, a really shitty mom, and I was always showing up for her and, like, trying to be there for that kid, and I would, like, cry about it because I couldn't always be there, and I would, like, worry because that was back when I was an addict, and that person was an addict too. But I was, like, even at my worst, I could take care of a freaking kid. Like, I've always been that person that if there's a kid, I'm, like, on high alert, like, watch it. And that I've taken care of a bunch of kids. I took care of all my siblings. My dad was in jail, my mom was sick, my stepdad was always working, my stepmom was into drinking. She's in AA now, but I've already taken care of kids. And so I feel like that's part of why I don't want some of my own. I even said it when I was little. I'm like, I don't want kids because I was already taking care of them. And then being in a relationship with someone that had kids added to that. So I could be really limiting myself. You know, I'm at the age now where there's a lot of men my age who have kids. And they may have them, but they may not have them every day. Or they may have them and they're at the age where they don't need to be, like, putting diapers on them and patting them down. Like, my ex's kids now is, like, 16 or 17, like, that at that age they kind of suck. But you don't have to, like, be that, like, person that's coddling them, and they're not going to be, like, interfering with things, and it's not going to cause a problem. And if you do bond with somebody on that level, they're old enough to make the decision that you can still continue communicating with them if you were to decide to break up with the person that you were dating, because that child is an adult. Maybe their parents are petty and, like, don't talk to them, but they're an adult. They can make their own decisions. So maybe something I should think about. Obviously, you can tell I've been thinking about it since doing this. So what I'm trying to help people do here is to start asking those questions, start getting clear about what they want, and then start, you know, being honest with ourselves about the people that we may be trying to manifest things with. Like, is it that they can't or that they don't want to? Is it that they could, but right now just there's something, like, that's blocking them, like they're married or they work on, like, they're on the other freaking side of the world, whatever. I know there's going to be things going on for different people. So we're, you know, figuring those things out, and then figuring out what's within us that's, like, adding to that, okay, and what's detrimental that's adding to that fact that we're not manifesting our, you know, ideal thing now. And then once we can manifest that ideal thing now, we can communicate with those people and figure out where it's going. And having this awareness and this understanding now, you know, when you start dating somebody, you know, 4 or 5 dates in, you start asking those types of questions, like, so, you know, what do you know, where would you be, like, your dream destination to live for the rest of your life? That's not too weird. It's just a question. But these are the types of things we can start doing so that we're not wasting our time with people that we spend 6 months with, and then we find out that, like, it ain't gonna work because we're just two totally different people, or we just want totally different things and we can't compromise on those things. Okay, so if you're single if you're waiting on somebody, if you're dealing with somebody that's only showing up halfway, try to utilize this as best as you can to figure these answers out for yourself. And then, you know, like, even, like, for me, like, I know a lot of you guys probably will identify with this, like, because of what I've already been through in other relationships, and because of, like, my past, some of that blocks my future, or blocks my ability to allow what should come in, because you could be, like, missing somebody or wanting somebody to come back that, you know, is from your past. And as long as we're living in that vibration of waiting or wanting something from our past, we can't manifest anything in the future, even with them, because we're still holding on to the old stuff. You know, we got to open up to the new. We got to be like, all right, well, that's in the past, that's over and done with. Let me open up to what will be moving forward. And if it's supposed to be that they come back around, then they will. If it's not, then they won't. But I know, like, for me, I've been through a lot of stuff in relationships, and a lot of that impacts me and makes me, like, nervous in relationships. And I've also had issues, like, when somebody's too nice to me, I'm like, why? You know, like, it's not good. So we gotta identify those things, and then once we do, the next time I come on, we'll talk about those things. We'll go deeper into that. We'll have, like, another little exercise for us to do. But I felt like this would be a good jumping point for people to begin this process. And if you're interested in me doing more of these here, let me know. If you're interested in a Bridget Rao channel that is aimed at other stuff, because I know a lot of you guys deal with way more than just this, especially because a lot of it goes hand in hand together, I can do that, like a once a week thing there. And if not, I can just see you in the Divine Essentials support group if this is something you want to continue with. Okay, guys? So thank you very much. If you'd like to donate to the channel, there's a link down below. If you'd like to receive any of my services, that information is always in the description box. If you want to subscribe to my sister channel, I do other things over there, like more related to like spirituality, like readings for starseeds, light workers, empaths. I do, like, guided meditations over there. I'm really thinking I could probably put, like, a series like this over there, but this is the love channel, so I try to do everything love related here. But I know there's some people out there that will just be like, unsubscribe because it's not a reading, and that's fine. I want to change things up, so however I got to do it is how I'm going to do it. So thank you guys very much. In Mene, namaste.